I'm a night guard at a local subway station. I was desperate for a job. I was in my final years of college, and I have lots of student loans built up. As soon as I saw the night guard job advert in a local newspaper, I knew I was fit for the job. I usually stay up late each night anyways, so it won't make much of a difference to my schedule. I realized I could also just chill my phone the whole shift and get paid for it. We had a small local subway station for our town. It only had one platform, and a few trains ever went there. The subway station itself was very old, only used by local town people. Recently, the old night guard of a subway station has retired. I needed someone to take over the position. As soon as I called him, immediately hired me. Looks like this wasn't a popular job. Let me give you a little description of a subway station. I've only ever been to the station a few times. So, basically, you walk down the stairs to get to the subway. Yes, it's underground. Then you will see the long tracks extending forever, on either side of you. And also a short platform for boarding the train. On the platform to your right will be a ticket, and also the security guard booth. Nowadays, you can just tap your metro card, so the booth was used as a security booth. Since it was an old subway station, the lighting also wasn't very good. It was very poorly lit, and had very creepy vibe to it. There were shadows everywhere, and the light was so dim, it took your eyes a while to adjust and be able to see your surroundings. So, anyways, here I was now, making my way to my little security booth. The day guard shook my hands with me, and as he left, wished me good luck. Who the hell wishes you good luck as they leave you to your shift? I ignored it and got myself settled. I read through the boring instruction manual that outlined basic evacuation procedures and what to do in unlikely scenarios like a bomb threat. My shift was from 10 PM to 5 AM. I was about to just go on my phone and scroll through Reddit when my eyes caught on a single piece of paper. It was titled "Must Read Important Rules." The title was overwhelming and written in a bit red blocky letters. I picked up the sheet and read it. This is what it said. If you see a man in a black tuxedo and bright red leather bag walking in asking for a ticket, say, "I don't work here," and immediately turn around. He will not be there when you turn back around. If you see a black figure in camera number 4, quickly look away and never look in that camera again. If you start hearing whistling, get out there immediately. Around 12 AM, you may see a woman with an umbrella come into the subway station. She will be walking facing away from you. Do not, under any circumstances, try to look at the woman's face. If you see yourself staring at you from any of the cameras, immediately cover up that camera. You may hear yourself speaking, telling you to come out. Stay put in your booth and do not come out. If the door to your booth starts shaking and starts to open, push the door closed as hard as you can. Do not let the door open. In extension to Rule 4, if you see yourself staring at you from the booth window, immediately look away and hold the door shut as hard as you can. If you notice that the clock on the wall has stopped working, immediately hide under your desk and do not come out until you start hearing the ticking of the clock again. At 3:03 AM, a weird-looking train will come. You will hear it from its distinct horn that doesn't sound like any other train. Carefully look out and see if anyone steps out of the train. If you see even a single person depart that train, immediately grab the handgun in your drawer and shoot them. No matter who the person is. If the train departs and you still haven't shot the person, it is too late. Your clock, phone, or any device that shows the time will try to deceive you. They will show the time incorrectly and instead show your shift and time. They are trying to get you to come out. If you feel like the time isn't right, stay put in your booth and wait until morning and you see people walking into the subway station. Apart from the weird train that will come, you should only see one other normal train arrive at the station at exactly 11 p.m. That will be the last train until 5 a.m. If you see any other train arrive at the station, you are not tripping. Hide in your booth and wait out until morning. If you break any above the underlined rules, we are no longer responsible for your safety. We will nonetheless come to collect you in the morning if anything goes wrong. The safest place at the station if you break any of the rules is on the tracks. The subway management team. The rules sounded totally fake. Suddenly, a man in a black tuxedo came inside the station. He knocked on the glass. My heart's beat flew like planes as I saw the man in a black tuxedo ask me for a ticket. My body suddenly froze at the spot. I wasn't able to speak. My voice got trapped in my throat. I barely managed to choke out. "I do not work here." The man suddenly seemed confused. His face slowly got even more distorted. His left eye got larger and larger. His nose bent at awkward angles, and his mouth twisted impossibly long. I grimaced at the sight and nearly threw out my dinner on the floor. The man turned away and literally crawled out of the station before his body got so messed up he'd be unable to move. Well, I just experienced the first rule. I'll update you throughout the night. I'm definitely not coming back after this shift. I was very traumatized after seeing a man turn into some messed up organism right in front of my eyes. I just sat in my booth, rereading the rules again and again. It was so dark in here that I had to use a small lamp on the table next to me. They really need to fix the lights here. Yeah, I also realized I had already broken the first rule. Hopefully, other than traumatizing me, it didn't do too much damage. This was going to be a great shift. The first thing I tried was to walk out, but I could see movements in my vision. They got closer as I moved towards the exit. The shadows in the station elongated towards me, and I got a horrible gut feeling. I'm telling you, I won't even make it a few steps outside the station if I exit before the end of my shift. I ran to my booth and just sat there. It felt like the shadows themselves were watching me. Suddenly, I saw movement in one of my cameras. It was a dark figure. No, I can't even call it a figure. It was a literal monster. It was worse than your worst nightmare. It had 4 arms, and there were tentacles? They each ended in razor-sharp points. Were those eyes all over its body? It had red beads, like things over its body. They reminded me of small brilliant light jewels on a pitch-black fabric. It had things coming out of his mouth. That's all I can call them. Things. They weren't like tentacles. They were twisted and curled like worms, as if it was vomiting its whole brain out. It had legs like the fin of a fish, thin and floppy. How was it even standing straight? Suddenly it dawned on me. I quickly tore my eyes off the camera feed. I covered the camera feed with my jacket. The whole image of the creature had been fully etched into my brain, and I was shaking uncontrollably. I swear, I hadn't looked for too long. Chills ran on my spine as I heard a high-pitched whistle. It sounded excited and hungry. More shrill whistles echoed around the dark subway station. My whole body was frozen on the spot, and I swear, the creature could hear my panicked heartbeat. The whistles got louder and louder, as if they were coming closer. The black, sticky liquid oozed out from underneath the door of my booth. I backed up, and a second time this night, nearly lost my dinner on the floor. My stomach must be very strong. The liquid bubbled and seeped in very slowly. It didn't have a color. It was the color of nothingness. I was mesmerized by its color. It was the color you could see in between your dreams at night. It was the color of a blind man would see. I suddenly saw the same creature I saw on the camera feed, now literally touching the glass of my booth. I let out a sharp yelp as the creature suddenly moved towards the door, and the doorknob started rattling. Then I heard another sound. A sound that made my hairs on my back of my neck stand up. Just when I thought I couldn't experience any more fear than what I was currently experiencing, all my muscles locked up. I was literally frozen in fear. That sound was indescribable. It was a mixture of moans and laughter, crying and shouting. It was a sound nothing can recreate. The sound blared like a horn in my brain, suddenly possessed what was happening. The phantom train was coming. The creature that was at the door of my booth looked scared too. It splasmed all over like a fish out of the water. Suddenly, it turned around and ran or slithered. I don't even know what word to use for this movement. Looks like I just survived breaking another rule. The phantom train came in. Have you guys watched Thomas the Tank Engine? Yeah, that's exactly how the train looked like. It had a human face, embedded into its front. Other than that, the train was fairly normal, and it came to a stop at the platform. I couldn't erase the image of the face on the train, looking at me as it stopped by. There was an unnatural grin on his face. Its eyes were too big and cartoony. It took a lot of effort to snap out of it and pick my handgun out of the drawer under my desk. It was already loaded. I did not want to break this rule. Even the creature that came after me was scared of the train. I honestly do not want to face whatever comes out of the train. Something deep in my gut told me that if this time I failed to follow the rule, I would not make it out of the subway. Guess who came out? It was my little sister. She recently turned 15. She walked out, looking dazed, like she had just woken up. She looked around and saw the train station. Her eyes lit up, and soon as she saw me, I pointed the gun at her face, and her face crossed over with fear and concern. She told me to put the gun down. She asked me why I was doing this. Suddenly the train blared its hideous horn, and its doors started to shut. My sister looked back, equally disgusted at the sound. I pushed the trigger. It's all happening in slow motion. The handgun made a loud sound that echoed all across the subway station. The bullet pierced the back of my sister's head and made bloody splatters everywhere. My sister dropped like a stone, and blood gushed out of her wound like a waterfall. It pooled all over her lifeless body. The train left, its horn mocking me. I quickly ran, back to the booth and broke down. I cried for what seemed like hours and screamed at the subway station. She seemed too real. It was actually her body laying there. I did just take the life of my sister? No, it couldn't have. No, 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 no! I am trying to calm down by typing this up. It's only 3:20 a.m. and I have around 2 hours to go before my shift ends. I don't think I'll make it. This isn't a subway station. It's a portal to hell. As soon as I finished up typing the post, it dawned on me that the clock had stopped ticking. I scrambled off my desk and got under it. Just as I slid my head under the desk, I got a view of the platform. My sister's body got up like nothing had happened and stared blankly ahead. The shadows from the station twisted and curled into weird sort of silhouettes. I wasn't going to break another rule, so I tore my eyes off the side and hid under the desk. I checked my time. I checked the time on my watch. 4:30 a.m. I only had 30 minutes left before my shift ended. I nearly jumped in pure ecstasy. Finally, this nightmare is over. Finally, I could go home and check on my sister. The clock was starting its rhythmic ticking again, and I pulled myself out from under the desk. I checked my watch again. 5 a.m. Wait, hold up. How did just 30 minutes pass away so fast? Just then I remember a rule. All my timekeeping devices may slow the time differently to trick me. That meant I had to wait in my booth and not come out till the morning, and I see people coming into the station. I scanned the camera feed for anything new, making sure not to look at camera 4, which was conveniently set away from all the other cameras. Then the worst possible thing happened. I saw myself from camera 2. I had a painful grin on my face. My eyes were so wide open. I swear, they could have popped out of my sockets at any moment. Before I broke another rule, I quickly tore away my eyes from the disturbing sight and came face to face with my twin staring at me from the other side of the booth. I jumped at the door and pushed for dear life. Luckily, the door opened inwards, so it was so much easier for me to hold the door. I only had to push. My twin batted itself onto the door repeatedly. Big bulky thuds shook over my whole body. My twin's shoulder started to get bloody, but he continued unfazed. I could feel myself pushed further and further back every time he rammed the door. I was not going to be able to hold the door for any longer. I quickly picked up my handgun from the desk and turned the safety off. As soon as my twin moved back and got ready to ram the door, I aimed the gun at the door. My mind took over from me at that moment. Adrenaline pushed through my body and my heart rate was high as ever. My demented twin pushed through the door and fell on the floor. I shot 3 rounds straight into his head and neck. I jumped past his body and sprinted onto the tracks. Demented me got up again and ran towards me at lightning speed. I jumped off the platform onto the tracks, and the last thing I remember was hearing my determined twins dragging breaths right behind me and the crushing impact on my body on the metal tracks. My foggy mind cleared all of the memories of this hellish place came rushing back. I looked around the dark as ever as a subway station for any more threats. My demented twin has thankfully disappeared. I had the subway station all to myself again. I was bruised all over, and I had definitely broken something in both of my knees. I had a big, deep gash in my forehead. My left wrist was definitely broken, and it was severely swollen. I couldn't move it without feeling intense pain. The adrenaline rush had long worn off, and I felt defeated and extremely tired. If I was going to die here, I wanted to die in peace at least. I took the phone out of my pocket. The screen was cracked into a million pieces, and it would not turn on. My watch was still working, surprisingly, although its glass was also cracked. 4:05 AM. I had no idea if this was the actual time or not. Either way, I was pretty much unable to get onto the high platform again and walk out of the subway station. I couldn't call for help. Which I just realized. Why the hell did I not call the police as soon as I broke the first rule, so they could get me out of here? I had made several poor choices along the way, and now here I am, ready to die in the tracks. Suddenly a woman with a deep black umbrella walked into the station. She was facing away from me and looked confused. "Hey! Can you call more people? I'm stuck in here! Please, I need help!" I desperately broke out. Shit! I realized too late as the woman turned around. "There we go, I just broke another rule." She turned around and gasped as she saw me. She came closer. I guess that is the final rule I'd break. I thought letting the creature do whatever it wanted. Surprisingly, the woman asked me if I was okay and told me to stay put and wait until she got the ambulance here. Then she picked up her phone and started calling. I was only able to mumble a thanks before I passed out again. I guess I got very lucky. I had pretty much broken every single rule on a list and still survived. I returned home and thankfully my sister was still alive. I told my family I fell down the stairs of the subway station to explain my injuries, which they are definitely not buying. But then again, I don't want to tell them about the rules or they'll think that the threat trauma had made me crazy. Today, I received a text on my phone. "Congratulations! You have been promoted as the night guard on our only night train. We've also sent you a sum of $100,000 to your bank account as to pay you for your first shift. We hope to see you at Redacted for your next shift in 2 weeks' time. Update. I have decided to work on a night train. I will post my experience as a new series." Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for listening to tonight's story. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out the sequel of this story, while our protagonist works as a night guard on a train. Check out the link in the description, or click the video on the end screen. See you there, my pamplets.